Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the show. I'm Joe, and I get to play host again today. And this is my most favorite thing that I do every single week. And today I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing you to, I'm going to say, a friend and college president of Delaware County Community College, Dr. Marta Cronin. Marta, thanks for joining us today. I know you're crazy busy, and thanks for slicing out some time to join us.
My pleasure. It's always fun to talk to you.
Fantastic. Say, I need to probably make a point, right? That's maybe not that obvious to everybody else out there, but I've gotten to know Dr. C, and she got what they call street smarts. She got some street smarts. And this recent appointment has you moving a little bit closer to where you grew up. Where did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I grew up in Washington Heights. The world is familiar with Washington Heights now because there's a Broadway musical and motion picture.
What state is that in?
It's in New York, in Manhattan.
Everybody should know that, right?
In the Heights is the name of the motion picture, if you've seen it. So Lin-Manuel Miranda did the musical. So, I think that I attribute my toughness to where I grew up.
So you're not the only famous person that grew up in the Heights.
Not. There are many good people and famous people that have come out of the Heights. So I like to say you can take a girl out of the Heights, but you can't take the Heights out of the girl, right? So that's what gives me my drive and my fearlessness, if you will.
And I have had the great honor of being able to see that actually in application on campus. Let's talk about your journey to becoming a DCCC president. It's fascinating. It's fascinating if people had a chance to hear your backstory. Talk about your early experiences in life that maybe drew you to just education as a sector, because there's so many other things that you could have done. But specifically, how did that drift then into community college?
So, as a kid, my mom growing up in the Heights, we always knew that education was the ticket out. So my mom used to say, in this house, it's God, me, and your teachers in that order. So there was no messing around with education. So my brother and I were always held to task, and we were good students. And as I grew up, I saw that there were no teachers, even in the Heights, who looked like me, right? So a lot of the teachers who came to teach where I was in Washington Heights came from outside of Washington Heights. So I said, from the time I was young, I always thought I need to represent my peeps, right? So I became a high school French teacher. And while I was teaching, all the other teachers in the building would come to me. Oh, I heard you did this with your classes. Show me how. So I felt I should teach teachers, right? So that's how I ended up going to the community college as a faculty member to teach teachers. And I never would have imagined to become an administrator. For me, I was going to retire an educator because I loved teaching. But then, as you learn more and you see how underrepresented Latinas are, the higher you go up in higher ed, the more important it becomes to pave the way for others, to be the example, to just get out there and represent. And that's how I ended up in higher education, kind of by accident. And as an administrator, never imagined that. I thought I would retire full-time faculty with 10 years. I was told was the best way to retire, with overload. And someone said, hey, we need for you to step into this administrative role. Are you interested? And I just did it. And that kind of cemented my path in higher ed administration.
Wow. Yeah, isn't it true? It's what kind of ensues in life. I had a similar track where I really enjoyed what I did. Joe Act 1. Joe Act 2 would have never went into administration or started to work on systems. I thought that was just for another skill set altogether. But it's what ensues. My guess is you had some really powerful mentors along the way who believed in you and saw maybe even some things that you didn't see in yourself and called you not out. It's so easy to call people out these days, right? They called you up.
Yes, and you interviewed actually the person who pulled me into administration, Tony Iacano from County College.
Oh, one of our recent guests on the show. Absolutely.
He said, hey, you can do this. You could be the first dean of the School of Education here at Indian River in Florida. I said, okay, let's try it. And there you go.
So we've heard, and I've talked about community colleges, and I have a recent love affair with community colleges because of the fact that they are this foundational quality to America, almost like the cornerstone of democracy. I'm seeing your head shaking. So
Mhm.
my guess is there's some agreement there.
There is. I
Yeah.
have had four-year institutions reach out and people tell me you could make more money teaching at a four-year institution. You don't have to deal with kids who aren't college ready. So that is why I am here. We provide opportunity to people who might not otherwise have it. And we accept everyone and we try to bring them up and help them get to where they want to be. We build dreams and we transform lives. And it just is so powerful. The stories of our students,
Mm.
just amazing how, we made the big difference in their lives, and that there's nothing that can replace that. Not all the money or the prestige or the title. That doesn't matter. It's about the individual success stories that drive us to come to work every day and do what we do.
Yeah, worthy work. It's available in so many forms and fashions, and yeah, you've done such an amazing work within your communities. You represent a number of communities in Delaware County there. Um, how about first generation students? I know that you bump into them all the time, and perhaps were you one?
I was a first generation student, first female in my family to go to college, and my brother was the first person only because he's older than me. So he was the first male, I was the first female, and my entire generation did not go to college. There were 10 of us in my generation, where 6 of us weren't even born in this country.
Oh
So
my
little
goodness.
by little, we become American born and we become college educated. And for me, that's a great conversation with students who are first time in college students. They sometimes they're surprised that I came from a place where we didn't have a lot of money. I was raised by a single mom, first to go to college, and here I am, a college president. And never as a child growing up would I have imagined that I would be where I am now. Sometimes I go someplace, like I was in Tokyo recently, and I just stop and I look around. I think, my goodness, as a child, I mean, we went on vacation once. We took a bus to DC. That was the one vacation
Mm.
I went on as a child. I never would have imagined that I would be able to tour the world as an adult. And for students, it's very powerful. And I tell my staff all the time, they're watching. You may not be talking to them. They may not be, you may not be directly impacting them, but you're impacting them. I had a commencement, I had a student come up to me, and a Latina, and say, I think it's so cool that you're Latina. I had never talked to her the whole semester, but she brought her whole family in tow. I got to meet the grandparents and everybody else. She said she wanted them to see that a Latina could be a college president. And I thought, wow, I somehow made an impact on this student. And I've never had a conversation with her. I didn't even know who she was. So but we lead by example. I mean, people are watching more than they're listening to what you're saying sometimes. And if you can show them that you can do it, and they have similar circumstances, then they can see that they can do it. It's that's it. Actions speak louder than words. It's
Oh,
so
and
true.
it's so heavily felt. I'm sure in the experience of the other Latina students on your campus, I think people are looking for this principle of they're like me
Hmm.
and they like me. I mean, that just has such a magnetic draw, and it's one of those it seems simplistic, but it takes a lot of work to become both viable and visible in the work of the presidency. And I can't think of anybody that's modeling the way better than you at the moment. This is year 2 at DCCC, correct?
Year two, yes, that's correct. There's a lot
What's
going
been
on.
what's
Busy, busy.
been kind of an unexpected discovery that just makes you smile, makes you proud that you didn't know about the day that you interviewed there?
I guess the day I interviewed here, I knew that there were challenges, right? And I wondered, how accepting is the college community going to be, right? So you always wonder that. You're new, the newbie on the block. But I have just been so surprised by how quickly I felt like I belonged, like this was the perfect fit for me, and how people helped reinforce that with their readiness to jump on board and try something cool that I might have suggested or something. Just that really surprised me. I knew eventually that I would gain some trust and some buy-in, but I didn't think it would be as quickly as it is. And there's always the difference between what we get as in our role-bound authority, right? Just because I'm the president, people will say so many things or believe so many things or pretend to follow in so many ways, but I don't get that here. I get that people genuinely believe in what it is we're doing and believe that we can do it better together. So that has been surprising, because I thought it would take a while, a bigger while to adjust, a longer while, but it has not. So it's been great.
So I'm going to go there. Tactically, like within your first probably 60 days, you made a move that I think the entire campus went, "Are you kidding me? She's serious about," and it had something to do with just your work structures. That was just an automatic, like gravitational pull to somebody who is creating the conditions for us to be successful. Don't get me wrong, you offered loads of challenge to say, here's what we must do. But right out of the gates, you kind of shifted some things around to go, you know what? I respect your professionalism and the dignity of your profession here. Didn't you mess with the hours a little bit?
Well, yeah. Well, we got Fridays off for some.
You know what? As simple as that sounds, it was kind of your first step on campus.
Yeah, we extended our winter break because people should be with family during winter break. And students don't want to be here anyway, so why should we be here? So I think that it's gone a long way to say, hey, you and your family life. I tell everybody, family first. I mean, the college is super important. Our students are so important, but if you're not good with your family, not good taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be good for anybody else. So always family first, no matter what. And I think that it's not just in word, but it's in action, right?
Totally.
And people know that. I think some of the things that have helped me too is that I'm accessible, right? My door is always open. If I'm in here, pop your head in, let's chat. People stop me all the time. I was just talking to somebody from facilities for like 15 minutes on my way here back to my office, and about his break and what he did. And it's just I just love hearing about people because there are people. You have your roles. Everybody has a job, but there is a person doing that job. And what they bring as a person is just as valuable as the skills that they bring in their role.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate, I guess, reality that a lot of people in your position maybe look at people, but don't necessarily see people. Like take the time to just pause, listen to a story, engage, because you're so crazy busy. You're lifting really heavy things. I mean, undoubtedly, you there's more things to do at the end of the day than you actually had time to actually get to, so that you would pause and do. But you're playing the long game.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in your office, in the office of the president, should be playing the long game and building cultures that endure probably beyond even your tenure. So.
Right. So was it Brene Brown who said something to the effect that if you don't pay attention to feelings and fears and things now, you're going to pay attention to the problems that they're going to bring later on. It's going to take more energy than just being, the person who listens and is part of the community, not just in charge of everybody.
Right. You've got a healthy human system going on there. Talk about, let's just brag a little bit for the 5 people out there that might not know much about Delaware Community College. Brag a little bit about some of the really, really exciting things going on campus.
Well, so we have a new center going up just right outside of Philly, which is, I was there Monday doing a tour. It's so exciting. It's like 110,000 square feet. It's huge. It's going to have this great new culinary wing because, we have culinary programs that we borrow church basement kitchens for. We don't have our own facility, so it's really exciting. The Visit Delco Hospitality gave us $2 million for that because there's such a need for hospitality training. So we're so excited about that. Every time we do a hard hat tour, it's super cool. We have new programs on campus. We have this biomedical technology, sterilization. It's a big industry growing around here, and our students are getting out there and getting employed immediately and making lots of good cash. So those are all exciting to us. Anytime a student is successful out there, that is one of the more exciting things for us, right? Because that speaks to we are doing our jobs.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, many on the program side and on the building side, many amazing things happening. But as you think about kind of your future plans, and I've had the opportunity to just be involved in some of those discussions with you and your team about the exciting work that might drive your someday goals, right? And you keep tethering me back to like 5 years, and I keep wanting to stretch you a little bit beyond that. But talk about your vision over the next 5 years, what DCCC will become over the next 5 years. What are you excited about?
We want to be number one. We want to be the top performing community
college. A pretty competitive person right here, folks.
That's right. It's fun. A little healthy competition never hurt anyone. So that is our number one goal. And how we're working on that is reaching into populations of our students that we have not reached into in the past. Like that new campus is going up in a place where the school district reports over 100 home languages spoken by families. So we're looking forward to serving the community in that regard, you know, starting people out with English classes, going on to a GED and getting a career of some sort, even if it's a short certificate program or they're out there welding and making all sorts of money. So that is the goal, really, to strengthen the economy, the local economy, strengthen the community, and be a community hub, a place where people can come for answers. Even if we don't have everything that they need, we can at least point them in the right direction and get them set up for success. But number one, that's where I want to be. Number one.
Keep them on the watch, folks. Keep
That's
them
right.
on the watch. They're pretty serious about that bold initiative as well. Yeah, relevance. If I think about it, that 3-syllable word, you are desiring to and becoming very, very practically relevant to your communities. We're going to wrap up, but before we do that, your peers are tuned in today. Yes, they're running as fast as you are. They're lifting really heavy things, and they're facing a world oftentimes that maybe is lacking some of that hope. Right? We just see it. We just see heads kind of down. People are burdened. There's a lot. There's just a lot going on. So, is there a closing thought or maybe some wisdom, insight, encouragement that you would give maybe to an upstart, somebody that someday I see Dr. C as somebody that I'd like to emulate in the near future? What encouragement would you have for that person?
So I think that looking ahead, I mean, I think we know that there are a lot of changes coming our way in the next 4 years minimally. So I think that we all need to stay the course and know that what matters is the people that we are serving. If we keep our eye focused on the end game, which is really churning out successful individuals, I think that will keep us motivated for whatever we need to do. And I think that there are no obstacles. And I always say there's nothing that can get in your way if you figure out a way around it, right? So never give up. That's my thing. Ask for help. I mean, I mentor a lot of Latinas who are looking to move up in education. I think happy to help in any way I can, but I think that they need to believe in themselves and keep pushing forward, no matter what gets in your way.
Well, Dr. C, we have covered just a smidge of all that is good and productive happening on your campuses across your communities. So want to just, again, thank you. For our viewers out there, there's a lot, I think, that you could just take a peek at and maybe begin to model some of the things that are happening on your campus. You might want to check out their webpage, dcc.edu.
dccc.edu.
I missed a C there. dcc.edu. To our viewers out there, thanks for joining us today. This has been the show where we remind you that everyone deserves to live in a community served by really healthy people, okay, like this amazing human right here, who are building healthy teams and delivering really, really reliable systems. That's our equity statement. That's what every community deserves. And that's why we do this program, because we just love to shine the light on all that is good and productive. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you found any value, do what the kids do. You hit those buttons that say like, right? You leave a comment, you share this episode across your network, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Until next time, this is Dr. Joe, on purpose to cancel all things and anything average. Peace, friends, and keep